I forgot how much less flattering this camera is than my netbook camera. I'm on my PC. This is very exciting for me. My PC has been dead for a while. I've been fighting with it on and off for about a year. I had issues because I was running Vista. Please don't look at me like that. My father works for Microsoft. You kind of have to upgrade, even when it's not the greatest upgrade. Anyway, so I was running Vista, and then Vista was like, lol, because I changed my hard drive. My hard drive was dying, and I cloned it using Acronis TrueImage, which is an excellent program and totally worth the money. I actually have a few programs that I've genuinely purchased. I actually don't pirate that much. I pirate every so often when I don't have the project key for something anymore. But it cloned it beautifully, it worked, it booted, it was amazing, but when you clone a hard drive, Windows deactivates. So Vista deactivated on me, and at the time, they were no longer offering support for Vista because they just released Windows 7. So they'd like, nope, we're not going to do anything with Vista anymore. And it was a huge headache, and I finally just said, fuck it, and I upgraded to Windows 7, and it was awesome. I've had Windows 7 on my netbooks, which is a really easy build, by the way. It runs great. All you have to do to really make it run well is upgrade the RAM, which is literally the easiest thing ever on a netbook. You just open the little panel, pop it out, throw it away, grab the new one, pop it in, done. Like, it's really easy, and once you do it, Windows 7 works really well on those little netbooks. So I had it on this machine, and it was working great, and I was loving it, and I was so excited, and then my PC started hard restarting itself randomly. It would just completely click off, click back on, total restart, complete failure. And the boot error that I was getting, or the error message or whatever it was an overclocking error. I'm not a gamer. I don't have it set to overclock. The most gaming I do is playing The Sims, and I don't do that very often, because every time I play it, I end up losing like 3 days of my life. That shit's scary. Anyway, and it kept doing it, and it was getting worse and worse, and because at first it would just, do it maybe once a day, and then suddenly it was doing it once every few hours, and then it was doing it once every few minutes, and it was just really getting bad. And I did a lot of Googling and messing around in the BIOS to see if I had accidentally set it to overclock at some point, but I hadn't. And the internet informed me that my problem was either the motherboard dying or the CPU dying, or both. And those are pretty, primary pieces of hardware on a machine. So I took a trip down to Yongsan, and I got a new motherboard. I got an Intel CPU. I think it's an i3 or something like that. And I got a new tower because my old tower is designed, it's really small and boxy, and it was designed to be mobile, but it overheats really easily. So I got a new tower with lots of fans and breathing space, and I tried to put it together. And I learned a few things. Number one, my old machine uses a different kind of RAM than the new motherboard takes, which, I asked the sales guy in Yongsan, I was like, is this new? Am I going to need new RAM? He's like, no. And, I totally did. So I ended up getting new RAM sticks. And then I discovered that DVD drives post-2009 use SATA cables as their power cables, not the thick band cable kind of thing. So my DVD drive wouldn't work because it had no power, so I had to get a new one of those, which, I really needed anyway because my old one was questionable in terms of functionality. So I put that shit together, and I finally got it all put together, and I had it on my desk all spread out as a bench test, and booted it up and everything was going grand until Windows couldn't boot. And he went, ah, shit, repair. Failed. Shit, repair. Failed. Put the disk in. Repair. Failed. I said a series of 4-letter words and some other words in multiple languages, because sometimes it's really satisfying to swear in foreign languages. And then I went, you know what would probably be the easiest thing right now, rather than trying to fuck around with Windows and get it to boot, is to just get a new hard drive and do a clean install on that, and then put the old hard drive in as a backup and migrate my files. And you know what? I was totally fucking right. It was way easier to do it that way. I ended up getting a terabyte hard drive for 80,000 won, so that's less than $80. Popped it in there, did a clean install. The first clean install didn't work so well because it installed everything and it was grand, but then I put the driver disk in that came with the motherboard and installed the drivers, and that triggered one of those horrible Windows boot loops where it starts to boot and then crashes and boots and crashes and just on into infinity. So I put the disk back in and did another clean install. And then I just was like, no, we're not going to touch you drivers anymore. No, you're clearly corrupted and evil and bad. And then I put the old hard drive in and just moved everything. And so everything's there, but the programs still don't work. It's not that they can't find themselves, because I've discovered with several programs now that as I've installed them, they immediately restore themselves to the state that they were in on the old hard drive. Like iTunes, I was concerned I was going to have to fuck around and be like, here's the library, please find everything, I haven't organized it in years, please. And no, I just installed it and it immediately restored itself to how it was before. So everything's there, it's just connecting the startup to the program files is not quite there yet. So a lot of my programs that were things that are expensive, like the Adobe Creative Shop things, which I would just like to state for the record, I had a legit copy of that shit, okay? I had a legit copy of the full Adobe Creative Suite because my younger brother goes to design school and he bought it for himself and he lent me the disc so that I could install the programs that I needed, which are Photoshop and ImageReady and InDesign. I use InDesign for doing book layouts. I'm a little nerdy like that. Yeah. Except Adobe doesn't want to recognize itself right now, so I'm having a little problem with that, and I might have to do some illegal things to get it back. So that's a little bit, but otherwise everything's working quite well and quite smoothly, and I'm really impressed with myself, because while I've replaced pieces of hardware before, like I've replaced hard drives, I upgraded my video card by myself, I changed power unit and shit, this is the biggest complete upgrade, like I pretty much built this entire machine by myself with no real help. Like, I googled things, but Google's really unhelpful when it comes to computer issues these days, because they're so specific to what your machine is. So, but I did it, and it works, and I'm using it right now, and that's just an awesome feeling. I did it! So, hopefully everything just stays grand, because all this is new hardware, so it should be good for like 2 years, although I will eventually have to upgrade my video card again. My video card's still pretty good, and I do live in Korea, and Korea is a place known primarily for its cheap electronics, but also for its vast internet gaming culture. Oh my god, StarCraft is insane, crazy popular here. Like, everybody plays StarCraft, or MapleStory, or World of Warcraft, or all three. So, most machines here are designed for powerhouse gaming, which is really funny. So I can get some pretty good video cards. My Windows experience index right now is 5.8, which is the lowest I've scored. The highest I've scored is 7.4, because I have 4 gigabytes of RAM. And so basically right now my computer is kind of on steroids and, you know, beating up smaller, weaker computers and giving them wedgies in school lockers. Yeah, mostly it's nice to be on a screen that is bigger than 12 inches, because I was using my netbook for everything. I did not realize how squinty my entire life had become until I have a full 1400 by 900 pixels to work with. I'm so excited. Yeah, that's the longest video I've made, I think. And it's all about computer geekery. Now you know I have a secret side to me. It's a computer geeky side. Play my childhood. Or don't.